Bhagavad Gita sessions continue. Today is class number 15. Again, thank you, Binduji, for conducting this with this very sincere, deep manana into how we can interpret the Gita through the lens of Advaita, but also looking at other viewpoints. So thank you very much for that. We are going to close the hand raising in the chat when Binduji is conducting the class, after which we'll have about half an hour time where you can come up and ask questions. And so these sessions are ongoing, so you'll see that it's going to be on all the weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST. And on Friday, it won't be a regular class, it'll be a discussion as and when needed. So far, we have conducted one of those discussions. With that announcement, over to you, Binduji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. Welcome all. Namaste. Let me do the invocation. Om. Namo Brahma Dibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrabhyo Vamshi Rishibhyo Mahatbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loga Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashi Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibeda Vivagine Vyomavapyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The Bhagavad Gita Dhyana Shlokam. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramarudaha Stunvanti Divyai Stavai Vedai Sangapadakrammo Panishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginah Yasyandam na vidussura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. Om. In the 2:16, we had a detailed discussion spanning over almost 4 classes. 2 classes of Shankara Bhashya, 1 class comparison and other details, and then we had the enquiry or the discussion on that on the last Friday. The verse is Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satha upayoravi drishtandau tattvaneyoho tattvadarshibhi. So we saw that asataha na vidyate bhavaha, the unreal or ephemeral, temporary or the phenomenality do not have a existence in reality. Na abhavo vidyate sada. Whereas for the existence, the reality or the whole, experience where we have awareness, that which is the Sata or Brahman, Atman, whatever, other terms are used for it, that can never have a abhava, means absence. That means that they are eternal in nature. Ubayorapi, both, tattvadarshibhi anayo drishtaha, antaha. Antaha means they have come to a conclusion. Drishtaha means through their means of affirmation. Anayoho means of these two. Ubayorapi, both of them having the reality or the experience, their own respective experiences. has been defined by Tattvadarshi, mean those who have seen the reality or those who know the reality. Now, these two are being explained separately by two other verses in the following 17 and 18, which we should be able to cover it today. Avinashitu tadvidhi yena sarvam idam tadam vinasham avyayasya asya na kanchit kartum arhati. Yena idam sarvam tatam bhavati asti. That is not given there. This by which the entire universe, sarvam means entire universe. Tatam means pervaded. Bhavati means is. This by which the entire universe is pervaded, avinashi, is imperishable or do not have a vinasha or do not have a destruction or variation. Tvam tat tu vidhi. That alone you should be affirming in yourself. Conviction should be there on that part by you. Vidhi means to know or to affirm or to, get convinced about it. Asya. Asya is an adjective for avyayasya. Of it, of the imperishable, asya avyayasya, vinasham kartum na kaschit arhati. This imperishable can never be destroyed by anyone under any circumstances. So he is now referring to the imperishable Atma, Brahman or the Sat, which is there in the previous verse. That is what is being referred here. Avinashi na vinushtum shilam yasya iti. Avinashi means destruction. Na nashtum shilam yasya. Not to get destroyed or by others, by itself or by any means. Therefore it is Avinashi. The Avinashi is only that Vinasha, but which does not have a destruction by any means, by others or by itself. Avinashi is that character or that is the character or the nature to destroy. Therefore, it's denied here. The word tu in the sentence, Avinashi tu, tadvidhi, of the tu here is the purpose for the distinction from the asat. Tu means whereas, or here it has to be taken as this, which is the sat here. Tadvidhi means vijanihi. You have to know that, or you have to become affirmed in that knowledge. May you know will be a very diluted statement if I say tu vidhi. That even though the translations may give that, may you know what should be the nature of Sat. Kim yena sarvamidam jagat tatam means vyaptam sadakhyena brahmanaha sakasham akashena iva gadadayaha. Look here, Shankaracharya is giving that by which means Brahman, by Brahman, Sadakyena, also known through the terminology Sat, because in the Chandogya that says, Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asid. Oh dear son, everything was in the beginning as existence. So Brahman is Sat, and it's also Satchitananda, Satyajnanam Anandam. All the places it is referred to as Sat only. Therefore, Sadakyena Brahmana. By Sadakyam means by Brahman. This entire world, Sarvam Idam Jagat. Yena means Brahmana, by Brahman. Idam Sarvam Jagat. This entire world means all experiences. The world is known to us through experiences, both internal and external, imagination or, what you call inference, or even through the direct means of knowledge. We have the knowledge about the world. That entire world, Sa Akasham, means as the space, Ghadatayaha, how the pot, etc., the house, the hospital, the house, the cosmos, the universe, everything is pervaded by space. This is also what we studied in the Ishavasya Upanishad. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Vasyam, there, achadane, or pervaded. We studied that. So, every object, how the is now embedded in the Akasha or in the space, the entire world, which includes the Akasha or which includes the space, is embedded in the Vyaptam. Tatam means Vyaptam, means is in the Brahman, or Brahman is through and through every atom of this world, because they all exist. Sat Rupena. We can never take out anything which is not existing for our purpose of understanding. Nor can we say there is something which is not existing but we know about it. The words can be confusing. For example, like a son of a barren woman. It is never there. It is a non-existent, but even though the words are used to, give an impression that there is something like that. But in reality, it never exists. Therefore, what is this existence which we are experiencing in this world? They has a beginning in time, existence and dissolution. Vyabhichara, the entire experiences of this world is coming and going. Therefore, it is called experiences which are unreal. Unreal in the sense, it is not that there is no experience. It is Kshanika Matra. Compared to the infinity of the Brahman or Atman, the experiences are infinite. Whatever may be that experience, even if it is the experience of Brahmatjnana, if it is known through the mind or intellect, it will have a beginning and an end. But Avinashi tu Sadviddhi, you have to know that is there in everything. Every experience or every object or everything which you can conceive of or imagine and think or perceive, all of them are pervaded with that Brahman. How? Vinasham Adarshanam Abhavam. Avyayasa na veti upachaya apachayau na yati iti avyayam tasya avyayasya. Before answering how, he is saying whose. Vinasham, destruction, means adarsanam, means it is not perceivable anymore, not cognizable. Or abhavam means absence. That is the definition of vinasham. Asya avyayasya na veti upachaya apachayau yati iti avyayam tasya avyayasya. This avyaya, which is referring to Atman or Brahman, nobody can bring about the destruction, disappearance or non-existence of Brahman, which is indeclinable. Avyayam means indeclinable. Nor can one modify, decline, or it cannot attain a expansion or contraction. Upachaya apachayau. That which cannot expand, even expansion and contraction, even though it is not being distracted, cannot be called an avyaya. Vyayam means change. Avyayam means without change. It is the same all the time, everywhere, or whenever you want to, you can imagine of such a thing. That is what is as avyayam. Na etat sadakyam brahma svena rupena vyeti vyabhicharati niravayavatvad dehadivat. Etat sadakyam brahma. This Brahman, which is called Sat, existence, svena rupena na vyeti, means na vyabhicharati. It does not decline, nor does it modify by its own nature, unlike the body, because niravayavatvad, Brahman is partless. And swataha vyaha na vyatikarana na bhavati dehadivat. Like our body, which has gone the expansion from childhood to the adolescent, and then apachaya, it starts shrinking, decaying, losing form. All those things are by itself happening in the body. So even that type of a change should not be seen in Brahman or Atman. Na api atmiyena atmiya abhavat yatha devadatto dhanahanyah veti natu evam brahma veti. Atmiyena, by self, mamata satvena, api brahmam na veti. Atmiya abhavat. So even by the factors connected with oneself, there may be a decline. What is how that one declining about when we lose memory, when we forget things, the knowledge which about ourselves, we will forget. There is no decline of that type also in Brahman. Just as yatha devadattaho dhanahanya veti. The Devadatta, just a name of a person, he becomes declined or weakened by the loss of money or by the loss of possession. Now the possession can be an adorning things like the dress or a crown or a sword or a wealth or things like that. Or it can be possessions like progeny, wealth like land or cattle or money or of those things. Any of the reduction in any of these things, the person who is owning them will feel diminished in the value. When the health is diminished, he will feel I am now no more strong. When the progeny dies, he will feel that, I am now less I have lost my 2 sons or daughters or something like that. If he loses wealth, either in the form of land, possessions or anything like that, there also he feels that I have become a miser now. I have become less rich. So all these things are seen where Atmiya means mamata. Here the Atmiyatvam is mamata. Possession or the ego-based feeling that which makes you bloated. Such a thing doesn't happen. Therefore, no such factor connected with Brahman is possible. And therefore, Brahman does not decline like that. Ataha avyayasya asya brahmanaha vinasham na kaschit kartumarhati. Ataha, therefore, no one is capable of bringing about destruction or diminishing to the nature of this Brahman, which is indeclinable. Na kaschit atmanam vinashayitum shaknoti ishvaro api. No one can decline it, which is indeclinable in nature. Even Ishvara cannot destroy oneself. Even if we consider it as Ishvara, it cannot diminish itself. Atma hi Brahma. Swatmani cha kriya virodat. Atma is Brahman. And why? No one is capable of destroying Atma because Brahman, which is Atma, and there is no contradiction of action with reference to oneself. You cannot act upon yourself. Like the eyes cannot see itself, the finger cannot touch itself. Like that, no action is possible. Atmashraya dosham, that is the terminology which is there in the terminology in Advaita and all the Shastras. Atmashraya dosham means dependency on oneself for one's own destruction. It is not suicide. In the suicide also, it is not considered as you are only destroying your body, but you are not destroying your Atma. So those who foolishly think they can commit suicide, they are only killing their physical body, but their Atma will prevail. So, Kriya Virodatvat, Atma cannot act upon itself. An action is always possible on something other than you. You cannot act upon yourself. Even you think that you are doing it, there will be some sort of a duality which is imagined by you and you are acting upon that duality. Therefore, in the Sat aspect, which is of Brahman or nature or the Atma, Abhava na asataha. Na abhavo vidyate sataha. So, in the case of Sat, there is no abhava possible. Punaha tadasat yet atmasattam vyabhicharati iti uchyate. Punaha yet swatmasattam vyabhicharati tat asat kim iti uchyate. What again is that asat which loses its own existence? When this question is there, the answer is given by Andavanda ime lokaha. Andavanda ime deha nityasyokta sharirinaha. Anashino aprameyasya tasmad yudhyasva bharata. Andavandaha, perishable. Ime deha, all these bodies. Nityasya ukta is spoken as eternal by Tattvadarshibhihi. From the previous verse we have to take it. Of Sharirinaha, the embodied soul. For one which has got a body. Anashinaha aprameyasya. Because imperishable and indefinable is the nature of the Sharirin. Sharirin means one who is in the body. Tasma, therefore, Yudhyasva, you may fight. Bharata, O descendant of Bharata. Anashinaha aprameyasya. Of the eternal, indefinable, imperishable, the embodied body, embodied one in the soul, that is the soul. Ime deha, all these bodies. And what type of bodies? Andavandaha. They are perishable. Ukta. They have spoken as perishables. Here he is talking about all these bodies. Krishna is showing all the bodies standing on either side of the battlefield. Ime deha. He doesn't call them by name, but call them all by the body. And every body has got a soul in it. Therefore, sharirinaha. They are all sharirins. And what is the nature of the sharirin? Anashinaha aprameyaha nitya. Eternal, indefinable, imperishable. In all these bodies, and the bodies are spoken of perishable. So what is going to happen is the perishability of the body. Whether you do it or you don't do it, it will happen one day or the other. So therefore, throw your despondency and your delusion. Therefore, you have to fight for this war for the purpose of with which you have come to this field, and you ask me to place your chariot between the two armies, which means you have been ready for the fight. So, yatha mrigatrishnika utagato sadbuddhihi anuvrittaha pramanya nirupanante vichhidyate sa tasya antaha. Those who have an end are called Andavanda. The discontinuity of existence, cognition associated with the mirage water, etc., when at the end of the analysis, with the help of the means of knowledge. Similarly, that is what he is talking about. Yada mrikatrishnika udaga adau anuvritta sadbuddhi pramana nirupanante. Pramana nirupanante is the most important aspect. When you use the means of knowledge, pratyaksha, anumana, upamana, shabda, all of them are pramanas. Pramana means means of knowledge. Prama is knowledge. Pramana means the instrument through which you acquire knowledge. So, pramana nirupanante. Nirupanam means analysis. When you do the analysis of all the means of knowledge, there is a Sadbuddhi, which is in, Anasyuta, Anuvritta, in continuity in that, the world in the phenomenal world. Every aspect of the phenomenal world, we feel they are real. And when we are having the reality in the experiences, only when we do the pramana nirupanam, that means by means of knowledge, when we analyze that, we will come to know what is within the time has a beginning in time. There is an existence when we feel they are real and experiencing, and they vanish after certain period of time, whether they are destroyed or they are not available anymore for experience or whatever may be that. This changing nature of the world, that is why ever changing, the eternal world, the world is appearing to be eternal, but it is not eternal. That is the pramana nirupanam, what is happening. When that is being done, vichidyate saha tasya sadbuddhi. This phenomenal world get dissipated, vichidyate, sadbuddhi, from the point of reality. So we know what is real now, what is apparent or unreal, ephemeral. When we do this inquiry into the reality of the phenomenal world, none of them are permanent. Not even our body. Not even what we think our physical body, mental body, intellectual body, all of them. Nor my possessions, my relatives, my wealth, my world, my country, or nothing is going to remain permanent in this world. Antaha means you will come to a conclusion, nirupana. Tadacha, like that, ime deha swapna maya dehadivat antavantaha. Also this body, which you take pride in, saying that I am so and so, I have so much of money, or I have so much of power, I am the undisputed king of the world. Whatever may be your idea about yourself, that is depending upon your identification with your deha. And Shankaracharya says, Swapna Maya Dehadivat Antavandha. Just as the body which you acquired in your dream perished after the dream is over, same way this waking body also is perishable. It can never last more than the lifetime which we call it as a lifetime. But Sharirinaha Shariravataha Nityasya Avinashinaha Aprameyasya Atmanaha Andavandaha Vivekibihi iti ukta ityartha. Sharirinaha means Shariravan, one who is embodied or one who is in the body. Nityasya is the adjective for it, which is eternal in nature. Yes, because Yada Kaumaram Yauvanam Jara, we saw that in the earlier verse, from the childhood to the adolescent to the old age, the experience of the ego has changed. But the the knower of that ego also has not changed. That is what is called the Shariravan. Anashinaha, Nasham. Nasham means destruction. Anashin means without destruction. Aprameya. It is that which, has no means through which you can cognize that. Therefore, aprameya. It is not a object for Prama. Prama means knowledge. It is not an object for knowledge. It is for in whom or for whom the knowing is a eternal nitya, eternal nature. That knowing is not an activity. It is swabhava. Therefore, atmanaha. Atma here doesn't mean the self. It is mean swabhava. It is the nature of the knowledge to be self-effulgent or self-illumining nature, because of which it doesn't need any other pramana. Therefore, aprameya. To know itself. You don't need you exist to be told by somebody else or to be checked out by any instruments of knowledge, or you don't need an electrical shock to know you are alive or not. It is always known that I am. Antavantaha, those who have determined, they are called viveki, then learned. Iti uktartha. Now he is defining each of the word. Nityasya avinashinaha iti na punaruktam. See, in Shastra there is a dosha or a error. When two words indicating the same meaning is used one after the other, it is called repetition or punarukti. Punarukti, repetition, is a dosha. When you can say the meaning by one word, why do you want to repeat the word again? That is, he is saying that is not a repetition. Nityasya and anashinaha. Nityatvasya duvidatvad loke nashasya cha. The words nitya are not repeated, since the world permanence is of two type, and also destructions are also of two type, and therefore there is no repetition. What are they? Yada dehaha vasmibhudaha adarshanam gataha nashta uchyate. Just like when the body is reduced to ashes, it attains disappearance. It is called destroyed. And adarshanam gataha nashtaha iti uchyate. Another is, even though the body physically exists, it is transformed, or destruction is a previous state. That means the childhood was destroyed when you got the adulthood, and the adulthood was destroyed when you achieved the old age. Therefore, there is a destruction. That is called nasha, whereas adarshanam is when you get basmibhutaha. Yada vidyamanaha api anyata parinataha vyadi adi yuktaha jataha dehaha nashtaha iti uchyate. That is endowed with disease or aging, etc., is considered destroyed. The body is getting decayed. So there the nasha is considered as decay or change in the pattern or the fashion. Whereas when it is reduced to ashes, is total disappearance. There is no physical body to be seen. Tatra nityasya anashina iti duvidenam api nashena asambhavaha ityartaha. That being so, by the words indestructible and timeless, as indicated that Atma cannot be connected with both type of changes, by destruction or in time. So the eternity and indestructibility are two different aspects. Both are not applicable in the case of Atma. Anyatha Prithivyaadi vat api nityatvam syad atmanaha tat ma bhut nityasya anashinaha ityaha. Anyatha, otherwise, if both words are not used, then the permanence of Atma would be like that of the earth, the space, etc., which are permanent until Pralaya. Parinami Nityam. That is a word which is called, it is Parinami, it is destroyable, but it has got a longer duration. So let it not be so, to prove that these words are repeated by Krishna in this verse. Therefore, Bhagavan told Nityasya and Anashinaha in this manner. Aprameyasya na prameyasya pratyakshadi pramanau aparichidyesya atyarthaha sa aparichedyaha. Aprameyaha, to objectify it. Prameyasya means to objectify. So aprameyaha means unobjectifiable, not to be treated as an object. It is, in another way of saying, unknowable. Only objects can be known. The subject is never known to subject. Indeterminate or undeterminable. Not measured, sized up, aparichedya. Pratyakshadi pramanau aparichedyasya ityartaha. By means of any of the knowledges, perception, inference, etc. Now a question is being asked by the opponent. Nanu agamena atma parichidyate pratyakshadina cha purvam. However, it is said that Atma is determined by the Shastra and also before that through perception. Now, this statement he is borrowing from the Vaisheshika of where for them Atma is an object, Dravyam. So there what happens is that is also a Shastra. Nyaya Shastra is a Shastra. So he is asking then in the Agama means in the Veda. Vedas are supposed to be at the place where you know things which are not known through the perception, etc. Pratyaksha pramana is what is known through the means of knowledge, means our sense organs, mind, etc. What cannot be known by the sense organs and the mind is described in the Vedas as agama, where it is used as a valid means of knowledge by all people, including Advaitin. Therefore, this opponent is asking, agamena atma parichidyate means is defined. There the parichidyate means determined or defined. Pratyakshadina, even through perception. So Acharya is replying, na atmanaha swadasiddhatvad siddhehi atmani pramateri pramitsoho pramana anveshanaha bhavati. This is a very important statement which we should remember all the time. Na atmanaha swadasiddhatvad. Na means no. He is refuting the objection. The self is not determined by Shastras or by means of such perception, is the meaning of no, that no. Why? Atmanaha swadasiddhatvad. Because the self is self-evident. Agama or Upanishad or, all of them are not showing us an object. Please understand very carefully. These Shastras are not objectifying for us a Atma which can be known by their definitions. That is why even when we were taking the references like Satchidananda or Satnijnanam, Anandam Brahma, all of them were known as Lakshyarthas or intended meaning. That is what Acharya is here saying. It is self-evident, not indicated by the Shastras. Atmani pramatiri siddhe sati hi pramitsoho pramana anveshana bhavati. Only when the Atma as a knower is established, for the one who desires to know, there is a tendency to quest for the means of knowledge. Please, I'll repeat again. Only when Atma as the knower is established, for the one who desires to know that Atma, there is a tendency in him for a quest for the means of knowledge. Atmani pramatiri siddhe sati. Only because the self is self-evident, and that when it is being explained by the Shastra, Ena sarvam idam tatam, or in what when it is said that it is pervading everything, it has to include you also. You and means you and me and everything. That which is pervading, including me, is what I should be looking for. That when the Shastra says that there will be a jignyasa, or what you call the tendency in us to know what is that pervading in me, which I should be knowing as my Atma. When it is pervading everything, it cannot say my Atma also. See, here we have to analyze this statement with such precision. Why is the one word prama is used for 3 places here by Acharya? Pramatari, pramitsoho, pramana anveshana. Everything is depending upon the word prama. Pramatari, one who wants to have the knowledge. Pramitsoho, to be established in that knowledge. Pramana anveshana, the enquiry for the means of knowledge. Bhavati. Think about it. Did any one of us ever start the journey into spirituality without knowing what we are searching for? Na prayojanam anuddishya na mandovi pravartade. Even the dullest will not get motivated unless there is a benefit out of knowing it. All that Shastras have been teaching us is we will be achieving the Purushartha of moksha, and moksha or liberation is from our limitation, our fear of death, and our fear of all sorts of fear. Idara mandaram kurite atatasya bhayam bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad, we studied that. So all the fear which we are having at any point in our time is when we forget our own nature. In our life, we are, doubtful, we lack courage, we get stumped by certain events in our life. All those things are because we are forgetting who we are. Or we forget to remember who we are. Only when we are prompted about our true nature and the benefit of knowing that, when that agamas or the shastras, when they told that, then only we started the inquiry into this. Therefore, Atmani pramatiri siddhe sati hi primitsoho pramana anveshna bhavati. That is only when the Atma is, as the knower is established. For one who desires to know that Atma, there is a tendency for knowing the means of knowledge. The next statement is, Nahi purvam itham aham iti atmana apramaya paschat prameya parichedaya pravartate. Hi purvam aham itham iti atmanam apramaya paschat prameya parichedaya na pravartate. He means indeed. Purvam, before, one does not proceed for knowing an object of knowledge first without knowing oneself to be I am this. Think carefully. All your motivation, activity assumes that who you are in our day-to-day life. The same holds good in the spirituality also. We do not proceed for knowing any object. First, we have to know I am so and so, or I am this. Therefore, I need to know this, that, or whatever may be that, the other thing. Any knowledge, inquiry, or anything which we are trying to acquire in this world presupposes I am this. Only when we are firm on that, I am a human being, therefore my dress should be fitting for a human being. I am this body, therefore I have to adorn this body with the dress and the ornaments of that nature. I am this body, therefore I need food, water and clothing and shelter and everything. I am this, for which I need to have progeny and my wealth and all. Everything is assumption of I am this. That knowledge of I am this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna now to think about it. Because he sat throwing up his bows and arrows and sat down thinking that I am not going to fight this. Which he assumed that he is fighting the war because he is the son of Pandu and who has been denied about his kingdom, and therefore those who are denying me of my kingdom, I have to fight it in turn. That is the understanding with which Arjuna started the war. But when he came for the war, he saw his own relatives, his teachers and his grandsire standing against him. So he got into confusion or despondency or some sort of a melancholy. Why should I kill them? again thinking that those people are of the physical body. I am also of the physical body, and therefore there will be destruction of one physical body or the other. That made him throw up his bow and arrow and sit behind. Therefore, Acharya Shankara here is saying that is the same with all of us, whether we are in a spiritual path or we are in a worldly path. We have a presumption about who we are, that I am this, ithamaham. Nahi atma nama kasyachit aprasiddho bhavati. For no one, oneself is unknown. Myself, I know it, but I don't know what it is. Or why, because I want to objectify it. That is my tendency. Until and unless I know that, I can never know myself. But I am always knowing myself. Therefore, I am aprasiddhana bhavati. For me, I am not unknown. Aprasiddha means well known, less known. Prasiddha means well known. Aprasiddha means less known. So I am not less known to me, myself. I know myself. But I am only having misapprehension that I am the body, I am the son of so-and-so, I am the so-and-so, etc. Shastram tu antyam pramanam. Shastram tu antyam pramanam. However, the scripture is the final means of knowledge. Atmani atadharma adhyaropanena matre nivartagatvena pramanatvam pratipadyate ajñātartha jñāpaka tvena tu nabhavati. That is, atadharma adhyaropana matra nivartakatena atadharma adhyaropana matra nivartakatvena pramanatvam atmani pratipadyate natu ajñātartha jñāpakatvena. Shastram tu antyam pramanam. We know that the scriptures are the final means of knowledge. Shastra attains the status of being that means of knowledge with regard to the self as the remover or negator of all superimposition attributes which do not belong to Atma, but not as a revealer of unknown entity called Atma. I'll break it up. Shastra Atmani atadharma adhyaropana. Atmani means on the self. Adhyaropana matra means all means of superimposition. Atadharma. All the opposite means of knowledge. All the opposite dharma. Nivartakatvena. By removing or negating that. Shastrasya pramanatvam pratipadyate. Shastrasya has to be brought in here. Adhyara. So, Shastra becomes a pramana only in this form of removing the wrong conception, all the misapprehensions we have. Atadharma dhyaropana matra nivartakatvena. Ajñātartha jñāpaka tvena tu shastrasya pramanam nabhavati. It is not exposing or revealing ajñātartha jñāpaka patartha. Something which is unknown, entity called Atma, is being known, made known by Shastra. No. Because Atma is known to everyone. Everyone speaks of I am, I. Only thing is that I is not placed in the right place. So we all think that when I say I am talking about Atma, but I have my misapprehension of Atma as this body. Therefore, when I use the word I using the word of for Atma, but I am thinking in my mind and acting that as if I am the body. That is the Atadharma Adhyaropa. On the Atma, which is Nityam, Niranjanam, Niravyayam, all those things which we studied earlier, that is the nature of Atma as per the Shastra. But I am now superimposing the body dharmas of the nature of the body onto the self, saying that I am the dharma, I am the Atma. That is the Atma. That is the self. But Shastra, what it is doing, it is not revealing what is my true nature of my Atma. Because that cannot be directly divulged as an object for pratyaksha. But it can be only indicated by removing what you think you otherwise you are. Now for establishing that, he is quoting a Shastra Pramana, again a Upanishadic statement, which is giving this Yat Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma Ya Atma Sarvantaraha. Brihadaranya Upanishad 3.5.1. Tata cha Shruti. Therefore, and likewise the Shruti says that Brahman is that which is directly and immediately without the need of any other means of knowledge. Sakshat. Sakshat means without the need of any other means of knowledge or immediate. As evident as self or I. And Sarvantaraha. Ya Atma Sarvantaraha. It is the innermost of all beings, all the phenomenal world. All the phenomenal world, when you are seeing, interacting, you are interacting with the Atma. You are also misunderstanding Atma to be the body and the thing, and also misunderstanding you to whom you interact, that is also the physical body and with whom you are interacting. But this yena sarvamidam tadam, there is nowhere without Atma. So what all that which is appearing as names and forms, Pacharambanam Vigaro Namadeyam Mrittikateva Satyam, that way all those things which you are seeing is gold and ornaments are gold. Mud and the pot and clay and the doll, everything is mud. All the forms of water, whether it is froth, waves, cloud, ice, river, etc. All the same way, the self is all. Yasmadevam nitya avikriyaha atma tasmad yuddhesva yuddhat uparamam ma karshi ityartaha. Now he is telling that this is a very disputed statement. Tasmad yuddhesva bharata. Yasmat means as described till now. Evam, in this manner. Nityaha avikriha cha atma. The self is permanent and free from all modification. Therefore, tasmad yuddhesva, it may appear as if Krishna is ordering Arjuna to fight. But tasmad is followed after an yasmat. Therefore, the Yudhyasva, which will appear as if it's a Vidhi, do not follow the Vidhi rules. Where you do not know how to do something, there an instruction is required. When you are going and sitting in an examination room, with the question paper given and everything, the invigilator who is walking up and down by the aisle, he doesn't have to say, all of you have to write the answers for the questions which have been given. No. It is evident that the question paper is given is for answering. Same way, when you say yasmat, after having explained what is the reality, which is unchanging, nityaha, avikriyaha, without any, modification, that is the reality of everything which you are seeing. Not what is seen as the name and form of the object. They are all perishable and ephemeral. Therefore, knowing this, what Arjuna is being told in indirect means is, Yuddhat uparamam ma karshi ityartha. May you not be tempted to withdraw from this war. Is the real meaning of the statement, engage in war, is a shortened form of telling that. Knowing this, now you engage in war, is not the way in which we should read it. We should read it that knowing this nature of real and unreal, why do you throw up your bows and arrows and withdraw from the war? You have already anyway prepared yourself for the war. That is why both the sides, the assembly has happened. You have one side your people, one side the other people. Both you say you are your people. You know this even before you came into the Kurukshetra. But when I brought you between the two armies, why are you now becoming confused and despondent? You are, as a Kshatriya, you have decided to fight the war, assembled everybody. So I don't have to tell you again to fight the war. All I am going to tell you is that knowing this, you know what is to be done now. Please get up. That is what Shankaracharya is telling by the meaning. Nahi atra yuddha kartavyata vidiyate. Yuddhe pravritta eva hi asau shoka moha pradibaddaha tushnim maste. Indeed, in this sloka, the duty of the war is not prescribed. Indeed, he has definitely engaged in the war before. Being obstructed by the shoka and moha of his seeing his near and dear one, he became quiet. Therefore, ataha tasya pradibandha apanayana matram pradibandha bhagavata kriyate. Therefore, only removal of the obstacle which is for the fighting the war is now being removed by Krishna by telling Arjuna what is the reality and what is the apparent. Tasma yuddhasya idi anuvada matram vidhi. Therefore, Bhagavan's statement, Krishna's statement, only to remove the obstacle in Arjuna's duty, and may you fight is only for restatement of Arjuna's readiness to fight, not as an instruction, not as a vidhi. I'll stop it here. We'll take the 219 tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Binduji. I've opened the chat and hand raising. If you have any follow-up questions or discussion.
Namaste.
Namaste, Binduji and Prakashji and everybody. I was talking with SKG and he was saying, he said, I saw this pigeon and she was so beautiful. Why? What kind of sin we have done that we have to go through so many things, right? Like I mean, for pigeon nothing. I mean, why can't? I mean, we. I mean, this is I'm saying that was his this thing. So we have created I am Anu and all the knowledge, all Brahma, Vishnu, devil, everything, and now I want to dissolve the knower and again be just like pigeon. So I create problem and act. So so if Arjuna didn't question anything, and it was not thinking basically, so he would have been just okay. That is what it is, right? So we have to live like pigeons and other like animals, right?
Your question is really confusing for others, but
We create a problem. We create a problem. Like I am Anu, and then I have to solve, and all Brahma, all devils and gods I create. For pigeon, it is not
yes,
created.
for pigeon, for animals. So there is, what is the difference is that ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyamedat pasubirnarana. Dharmo hi tesham atiko vishesha. Dharmo vihina pasubirnarana. That ahara, nidra, bhayam, maithunam, all those things which are animals and human beings are common. If we do not have the process of thinking, we will also be living like pigeons and monkeys and dogs. Since we have got the intellect, we know that we are making a mistake. A pigeon or a dog does not know it is making a mistake. This is living a life of the pigeon or a dog. Because that is what it is. His inquest or his knowledge of thirst and everything is for his ahara nidra vayamaitram. That's all. But he has never asked, why am I a dog? Or why am I a pigeon? So, it is easy to think that they don't have problems. Their problems are at their level. Our problems are at our level. Everyone is going through the problem if they do not know the reality. And the reality can be known only when you know how to analyze yourself. The knowledge of even the dog or the pigeon has the I knowledge. That is why it tried to save itself. It tried to protect itself, or it is having the reaction to when it is being attacked and things like that. But they do not know why are they doing that? They don't have a knowledge. So if we don't have that, we would have never tried to find out who we are. We will be living that is Pashubir Samana. We will be living like an animal.
But we cannot live like animals. Only the thinking like humans would stop, and we would, because self is self-effulgent. We would know that we are the self. If it is that it would be easier to know self if we didn't have that that kind of, because we have animal plus the intellect. I am not very clear. I'm not able to express myself. The thing is,
Anu, you need to think about your question yourself. On which point are you standing, or which stand you are taking when you ask the question. You should analyze that, and whether that stand is right or wrong. When you analyze that, you will know that your assumptions and your questions are assuming that you are in a wrong place, and that need to be corrected. That only that knowledge can correct it. So it is the ignorance in us which is making us all these things, that we are like this, animals are like this. All those things, when we know, we will know that there is only one truth, and there is appearances of human beings, appearances of Anu, Bindo, or appearances of a pigeon or a dog. They're all appearances, because in reality, everything is Atma. That is what
No,
the
no,
reality is.
I agree. Like right, right. Like my mind stopped. Like there was no thought, there was nothing, and there was no knowledge also coming, and there was nothing, and it was just like plain. Like there's nothingness. I was there was no thinking going on. Neither I was grasping. So then it occurred to me, like then where are these gods and all the other knowledge which I'm listening to, and all it is getting created, because that is what I am, which has no knowledge actually. And when my mind comes into being, oh okay, I'm listening to this, and now there is freedom, and now there is bondage, but actually that is self, which is like Buddha also taught somebody, like just when you're listening, just listen. When you're talking, just like eating, just eat. Like सुनने में सुनना, खाने में खाना, जाने में जाना, उस पे आगे like और विश्लेषण ना करो, तो there is no further analysis and paralysis. Then that is the way to freedom, and that's what happened also to that person. वो एकदम मुक्त हो गए शॉर्टली. तो मैं ये सोच रही हूँ कि जब हम सोच रहे हैं, सोचना और फिर वही बंधन बन जाता है ना हमारा. मतलब हम
Anu,
जानवरों की तरह तो नहीं रहेंगे.
listen, you told when you don't have any thought, none of these problems existed, right? But you cannot deny that time also you remained as an existence without thought. We are talking about that as the reality, which cannot be known by any means, because it is not an objectifiable thing. So when you are without thought, means without all these problems, when you knew who you were, but not knowing who you are, but your existence, you could not deny it. You were that. And when you were remaining in that, none of these problems, nor the stories of the gods or demons or the dogs or the pigeons or the human beings, nothing existed, which you said, when the mind came, all those things came back. But mind is also a ephemeral thing. It comes, means it has to go. What comes and goes is not you are. You are the sakshi, or you are the witness to that. So when you are that, why are you worried about the things which are coming and going?
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you, Anu.
Thank
Namaste,
you.
Karin.
Stay Binderji. I came up to thank you. Today was really very, very, very clear. I really enjoyed when you mentioned that there has to be some kind of pre-intention about wanting to know. And that makes so total sense now. And also how you explained it in that context. Because I never was exposed. I wasn't born in India, so I never was exposed to any of this. So, and then when those pre-intentions are coming up, and because my life had so many experiences and I wanted, those were the cause to find out who I was. It doesn't matter if they're real, yes or no, that's beside the point. But now that you explained this, it makes so much sense. So thank you.
Thank you, Karin, for your lovely words. Namaste, Venkat.
I resonate totally with Karin. Today was a special session on Aprameya. Binduji, I have a question on the prior verse. Avinashi
Yes.
tu tadvidi yena sarvamidam tatam. That means it is also a continuity of nasato vidyato bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata.
Right.
That expansiveness of that sat existence all across is also Avinashi. That is the that's extension. This is nicely now expanded. In the Bhashya, there is this na kaschit atmanam vinashitum shaknoti ishwaropi. That means Ishvara cannot even destroy Atman. While, Ishavasam idam sarvam, it can just, that whole, Ishvara and Atma is inseparable in that sense. Why, Ishwaropi is taken here to describe Atman cannot be even destroyed by Ishvara. That means that why that separation?
See, that Sanskrit words you should understand very properly. Ishwaropi is not same as Ishwarenapi. If it had been Ishwarenapi, means Ishvara becomes a cause for the destruction. Na Ishwaropi means Brahma, Atman is the Ishvara there. Got it?
Yes, Binduji. I think, the yes and no. The use of Ishwaropi.
No, that is why Ishwaropi means there the Ishvara and Brahma is identified. The same. Whether you call it as Ishvara, Atma or Brahma, it can never be destroyed. But Ishwarenapi, if the Sanskrit has been used as instead of Ishwaropi, Ishwarenapi, Ishwarena api, then Ishvara becomes the cause for the destruction. It is not used as Ishwarenapi, it is Ishwaropi. So the meaning totally changes there. Ishvara is not a cause for destruction or not unable to destroy. But here he is saying that Ishvara, Brahma, Atma are all the same.
Okay. I think, it's a negation. That's good, Binduji. I think that is where I got lost.
Yeah.
This Aprameya, it is beyond, none also. That there is this space versus Atma, right? Nitya, Avinashi, a combination is used. And the most, the highest of Panchabhutas is Akasha. Akasha is Atmana Sambhuta. That Nitya Avinashi means where Akasha, it will apply to Akasha. In this case, there is a Prakriti, Anyata Pratyadi Api Nityatvam Syat Atmanaha. That Nitya Avinashi is Anyata Pratyadi with Pratyadi Dapi Nityatvam Syat Atmanaha. That Prithvi is taken as a reference. Why that Nityatva? Because Prithvi is Panchabhutadi, right?
Yeah, Prithvi Adi means everything. Prithvi to upwards or Prithvi to downwards. Both.
Okay.
So there Akasha also is pervaded by Sat.
Okay.
Because we know Akasha Asti. Right?
Yeah.
So Akasha is there, is what we say that. So the isness is the existence which we are referring to. So all the places where we are getting is the isness, but the isness can never be seen by itself. We need an adjective. That was what I was explaining in the last classes. Without the object, we cannot know the isness because we are depending upon our sense organs. If we are removing the dependency on the sense organs, we will not know the objects, but we will know our isness is I am. That is the experience we will have. And that time there is no otherness. That is the I become everything. The easiness is because of the I. And that is now becoming my mind is, my sense organs are, my objects are. Everything is going from where? Is starting from me.
That
So here
in connection,
yeah,
in connection with Atmanan. Okay, I
yes.
think I got the connection now. Okay, thanks, Binduji.
So if there are no further questions, then Binduji, shall we close the room?
Okay, thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Karin and Venkat.
Thank you, Binduji.
Namaste.
Thank
Good
you
night.
everyone for coming, and see you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. IST. Good night, Hari Om. Good night.